the next one we have is Isabel. So we're in tier C now. So Isabel is C tier. This is so we actually have already went through 5 UNSCs. This is the sixth out of 8. So there's the only UNSCs that we haven't named is Cutter and Forge. So that means that this list, which is my opinion, by the way, but I mean, this list has put Isabel as the third best UNSC in the game. Do you guys think that is accurate? Or do you
I
guys
think she's
think.
the best, personally. I feel like she's the top of the top. But that's just my right opinion. I won't argue for that. But yeah, I mean, we could work with third. I think we could tell. She's definitely higher up on the tier list for me. I definitely think that Isabel is one of the best UNSCs for what she does in this game. Like hands down, she's got two great starting abilities for early game, and you can just get an immaculate amount of value out of
You think.
the holograms.
Are you serious when you think that she's better than Cutter and Forge?
So it's a heavy argument that wouldn't get much traction with the rest of the community. But I've seen the way that hologram can make things happen, and especially with just what it does as a tanking LP for only 100 costs, I feel like it works out well, especially since she's got those extra mines, which is another leader pointer up above Cutter when it comes to like the straight up conflicts. Like of course he has the kiting ability, which is invaluable. I can't argue against that. But with mines and a hologram in a combat situation, tanking the damage and dealing out the extra damage with the mines, it's just immaculate. And I think that she could easily be an argument above Cutter for that early situation, just for how you play that alone. Um,
So how is she? So with the Cutter thing, and I'll get back to it. How is she supposed
Sure.
to be a rolling eco Forge with jackrabbits with heavy metal?
hmm Oh man, I mean
Because
it's gonna be tough. Yeah, at that point, if you're fighting Forge, you're just gonna.
because your hologram isn't really gonna help you versus that. Now another
Mhm.
thing is we're not saying 1v1s per se. We're saying Isabel versus all the leaders. Does she have more better matchups than Cutter or Forge? And I don't think Cutter really has any insanely bad matchups. I think he's just genuinely good in every map against every leader. And yeah, but as for
Mini base complete.
as for Isabel, I really like her, but I mean, choppers can be a problem, and even though you have hologram, ghosts and choppers are ghosts and choppers.
Rally point set.
So
No, yeah, they're very good. But it's like there's a lot of little things that like at face value doesn't look great with Isabel, but it adds up. It's like
mhm.
we've talked about how the ghost ramming the holograms will do ram damage to the ghosts and the choppers. Um, they will also subconsciously take the shots
All
to
units.
effectively give your army like just this extra juicy layer of health that really puts extra emphasis on it.
All units.
And especially if you're going on offense all the time, where you might not
All
necessarily
units.
have like units
All
trailing you,
units.
um,
All
it can bait you
units.
can even bait out LPs. I've seen tons of games where
Yeah.
it's
All
gotten
units.
value just from
All
that alone.
units.
But
All units.
And what about whenever
units.
hologram shoots an enemy
Support
turret?
drone researched. All
oh
units.
yeah, no yeah, that's we can talk about that too. When you use hologram, you can make it so it absorbs
Our
all the
allies are
shots of
attacking
the
the
enemy
enemy
turrets.
base.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All
something else that I
units.
really enjoy
All
with it.
units.
It's one of the
All
best
units.
LPs when you have to deal
Sure.
with someone who's buttoned up on
All
defense,
units.
especially UNSC. We've got great anti-infantry turrets, great
All units.
all around with turret upgrades. Like you can
All
tank
units.
all of that
All
damage with
units.
the holograms,
Supply
and you
pad
can get all the
upgrade
turrets to
complete.
focus fire on them instead of the actual units. So if you need to get damage done,
All units.
you might not even necessarily
All
lose
units.
any of your units because the holograms
Our
are
allies
taking
are
all
attacking
that
the enemy
damage for
base.
you. So for 100 supply, that's
All
And
units.
Yeah,
an-
eight units.
another
Wow.
thing to kind of put out there is if you have a Serena on your team and you
All units.
hologram put Frost
All
Ravens and
units.
Cryo Troopers, they can still freeze things. Your holograms can freeze things. Now, I can't remember. So one of the two units can only freeze buildings
All
during
units.
I can't remember which one it is.
Supply pad
But
upgrade
I do
complete.
know that Frost
All
Ravens
units.
and Cryo Troopers both
Our
can
allies are
freeze
attacking the enemy
things
base.
whenever
All
they're
units.
holograms. So
All units.
if Isabel and Serena are on teams, you can really make
All
some
units.
quite broken stuff happen with
All units.
hologramming the Serena and giving them twice the
All
amount of
units.
freeze. It's just for everybody to. Anyways, so first leader
All
point
units.
with Isabel.
All units.
I'm guessing everybody's choosing hologram then, or
Local
do we got some
units.
minds?
An allied base is
I-
under
I
attack.
do the mine sometimes
All
just
units.
to get the power,
All units.
especially if they have like if they're gonna make a chopper.
All units.
I just don't want them. I don't want the banish to
All
get the power,
units.
so I'll just make the I'll go mine sometimes.
Local units.
Okay.
All
Monkey,
units.
you
All
hologram
units.
mines?
All units.
First leader.
Yeah, mine's for sure. If you need a resto, then yeah, I mean you could always desperately pick it up, but most of the time it's just gonna be hologram mines for sure.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about but first leader point only. What would your first leader point be?
Upgrade complete.
Hologram?
Oh,
All
holograms.
units.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well,
The enemy hero
very
is
first
down.
one, we're
All
talking like
units. All
ones fighting for
units.
like the power and stuff.
All
Yeah, it could be
units.
mines.
All
You
units.
can go with mines first.
So,
and you
but
can
for
go
your
with,
second point, you would just come back and pick up the
All
hologram.
units.
yeah.
Okay. And then Hayden, what about your second point?
Destroyed an enemy building.
What's available on 2? Is accelerated assembly
All
available on
units.
2?
Yep. So you have accelerated.
Most of it. If you're playing ones as Izzy, I mean, most of the time if you want to make jackrabbits, you can go accelerated assembly and just
All units.
spam jackrabbits. I mean, it is a scout meta after all.
All units.
Yeah. So
All
your
units.
mines then
Garage
accelerated.
constructed.
Well, if I am gonna go
Allied base
jackrabbits,
under attack.
I think it would
All
behoove one to
units.
have the hollow. But I mean, if you're gonna go Spartan, I
Garage
guess like
constructed.
Spartan Slam mine combo is not
All
bad.
units.
I don't know. That's an interesting one. That one's really a toss-up for me. I'm going to plead the fifth on this one.
So
All
I
units.
lean very strongly for hologram
units.
first, accelerated second, and
Oh.
I really like going jackrabbit
Armory
spam
constructed.
with Isabel.
All units.
Yeah, I'm
All
pretty
units.
strong on that. Don't get me wrong, I think going double mine is really fun and entertaining,
Leader
but
power
it's
ready.
definitely not
All
the
units.
build you should do. A hologram
units.
with jackrabbits is very
All units.
competitive
Upgrade
versus
complete.
any composition you can think of
All
in Tech
units.
1. And if you can build your hero, then I think build her. Like I think Isabel is the strongest
Local
Spartan in the
units.
game. Or Alice, I should say, is the strongest Spartan
All
in the game.
units.
So I really like Alice.
Our allies are attacking
That
the
being
enemy
said,
base.
I use my slam mostly with the Mac Blast later, or I just use
We've
it in
reduced an
general
enemy
by
structural
itself
rubble.
because
Lead point
I think
earned.
accelerated helps you throughout the entire game with jackrabbits, warhogs, and tanks.
Fire base constructed.
So I'm
Supply
just going
pad
to be
constructed. Local
getting
units.
that benefit throughout the whole game. And hologram is just too strong to ignore for a lot of
All
reasons.
units.
Mainly a lot of
All
what you
units.
mentioned earlier about
We've taken
making
out
the
the enemy
turret shoot
hero.
after them. You can scout
Our allies are
people,
attacking the enemy
with
base.
no reason
All
to.
units.
People
All
accidentally
units.
hit you or hit your
allies
holograms
are in trouble.
instead.
All units.
People bump into you with their rams and
Hijack
take
researched.
damage.
All
I think
units.
holograms, I think we've already preached about that. So I would do
All
holograms
units.
and then accelerated for my second.
All units.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
All units.
Oh yeah,
Taking out
I
an
could
enemy
definitely
structure.
see accelerated for the second
All
point, and
units.
then definitely hologram. No matter what, it's got to be a hologram pickup for sure. I think that's for sure.
What
But,
about
yeah,
third point?
All units. An allied base is under attack.
Accelerated 2.
Heavy machine gun researched.
I'm definitely a
All
Mac
units.
guy. I have
All
to say,
units.
getting that is always a nice
Destroyed
one.
an
But
enemy
you
building.
could also argue for
Upgrade
heavy
complete.
metal for me.
All
I would take
units.
heavy metal.
Yeah,
Leader
yeah. I
power
mean,
ready.
that is absolutely
All
a
units.
argument. So I'm
All
more
units.
of a.
Supply pad upgrade
I really
complete.
like the Mac, but heavy metal is a strong leader.
All
power.
units.
That's
An allied
absolutely.
base is
Mhm.
under attack.
What do you think, Hayden?
All
What would you go
units.
for? So,
All
Um,
units. Leader
mostly,
power ready.
yeah, I mean, like, accelerated too, because you already bought accelerated one, and just
All
a
units.
430 supply tanks is pretty fun, I'd say. I don't know.
Enemy hero killed.
yeah,
Really cheap tanks is really good.
yeah,
Local
I
units.
think so, but I don't think you're gonna immediately get the effect of it. So
All units. An allied
I
base is
don't
under
know,
attack.
because you're not gonna build tanks until slightly later.
All
And then
units.
if you go, let's say you go into, what's your next point, Hayden?
All units.
If you're super
My
cheap
fourth
to-
All
point.
units.
Yeah.
Do you get best offense by that time?
Yes.
All
Yeah, I would
units.
probably get that
Our
then.
allies are
Okay,
attacking
so
the enemy base.
it's turret drop and best offense is your choices,
Reinforcements
and
level 1
everything before that.
researched.
So
Mhm.
is here turret drop and rest? I think
All
it's-
units.
Resto was earlier. So yeah, so
We've reduced an enemy
I
structure to rubble. All units.
I know of that path. I don't
Leader
think I
point
agree
earned.
with that path
All
because
units.
that means the only leader power that's going to help you on Tech 1 and
All
2
units.
is going to be hologram. That's it. And I don't want to try to
Hero is
win
down.
my
All
first
units.
2 tech levels with just hologram
We've
alone.
taken out an enemy structure.
Now don't get me wrong, like accelerate helps, but
All units.
like you only get 50 supplies off on your warthog.
All units.
You only get 45 supplies off of your jackrabbit. So really, you don't see the
All units.
effect until
All
you're
units.
at
All units.
the tanks. And
All units.
personally, I just don't want to rely
Our
on
allies are
hologram
attacking the
as a
enemy
whole
base.
for the first 8 minutes of the
Local
game.
units.
If that makes sense.
All units.
What about you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
point,
I
Dave.
would say,
Wilson.
well, depending on what I need. But most of the time, if I picked up Mac, it's heavy metal. But most of the time, I've already picked up heavy metal if my army is doing well.
Mhm.
Or I would definitely go with heavy metal or Mac. I would say heavy metal for sure for my fourth point. Most of the time ends up being what it is.
Gotcha.
'Cause yeah, it's just great unit preservation, and yeah, you can get extra money from the accelerated assembly, but it will never be enough as to compete with what heavy metal could give you. Heavy metal could save an army from
Sure.
something that's happening damage wise. So you could make up that money very, very fast, if not way more, with heavy metal very easily most of the time. So I always love heavy metal.
Sure.
It's such a great LP.
So I'm actually in agreement with you. My fourth point is usually heavy metal with her, so I go hollow, accelerated, Mac, heavy metal. Yeah, like I agree with you on that one. And then what about the last point? Are you combat salvage, or you ghost and machine, or you best offense? Like what?
Oh man, depends on how desperate I am, you know. But I would say, yeah, I'm still sticking with combat cell. It's too good. I can't pass it up. It's just such a great LP.
All right. What about you, Hayden?
The fifth LP? Uh, hmm. Probably Ghost.
Is there a reason you're choosing it over combat cell, like from Monkey, or?
I don't go vultures as much as Monkey does.
Okay.
Plus, because I was just saying that I like going accelerated too, so I have cheap tanks, so I don't really need a combat cell.
Okay.
So yeah, Ghost.
I gotcha. So personally, I think it just depends for me. If I have a lot of Tech 3 units and I can abuse combat salvage, then I will get that. But if I don't have a good, decent army of Tech 3, then I will opt for Ghost and Machine. So it really depends on what I have as an army for that one.
Yeah.
Depends on what I go. Usually I spam jackrabbits, just like I said, maybe go through. Then I'll switch into warhogs. and then I'll switch into tanks or vultures from there. And I do like combat salvage if I have an army of tanks and vultures, but if I only have one or two, then I'm gonna go Ghost and Machine. So that's just how I go. So,
Yeah, I can 100% agree with that. But for Isabel, yeah, I think that's a more reliable argument because Ghost is like, well, it also depends on what they have too. But Ghost overall, you really can't, even if it's just like infantry with a bunch of nightingales over the top. You swipe those nightingales, that's gonna hurt that army. You really can't go wrong with Ghost in comparison to like combat cell. So I could definitely see Ghost if the situation calls for it. You don't have any tech read, then absolutely Ghost goes 100% away. But I would almost argue for Johnson though that combat cell would still be good with the Mantis because you if even if you lose money on it, let's say, it's not like it doesn't do anything for you, right? Because if you need those units out immediately after losing all that, that's what combat style can do for you. That time gap is non-existent at that point. You will have an army ready to defend yourself, whereas you might not get that if you go digging in deep.
well, technically, with Johnson's Mantis, you're not like so. It's 2,600 supplies for the Mantis, and it's 2,500 resources in total for the combat salvage. But at the same time, 1,000 power is worth more than 1,000 supplies, so that's why I say it's more expensive. But,
Oh, for sure, yeah. But you could also say it depending, because I'm imagining majority Mantis. It would probably be something. I don't know if this is realistic in your terms, but I think maybe imagining 6 Mantis with 2 Colossi at that point. So it might make it a little more favorable for that discussion because I just feel like even if it is just mostly Mantis coming back, having that army and yeah, maybe you lose a lot of power doing that, but at least you can defend your generators with the army that you have, or your expo for that matter. Which losing a huge expo, taking a huge expo hit would be devastating if you don't have that army back to defend yourself after that fight. Very well could be the end of the game.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see it though, because like Mantis also take 23 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's essentially saving you a whole, what, 3 minutes, little more than 3 minutes, 184 seconds of build time, So I mean that definitely helps, and so it does have value to do that. It's just not as insane of value as Colossus.
No, yeah, for
So
sure.
that's kind of why I like to save it for the Colossus or Vulture. So,
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for with Hades tanks. Even accelerated 2 tanks are benefiting from combat salvage. It's just not as much. But yeah, so let's say, what about? So the next leader in the C tier is Pavium. What do you guys think of Pavium?
He's my favorite leader. He's the leader I play the most out of any leader in the game.
Are you serious? Like,
Yeah.
is that your guy? Okay.
Yep, that's my guy.
So if that's your guy, man, what's your first 2 leader points?
Burnout 1 and 2.
Okay. Monkey, what about you?
Oh man. I mean, burnout mega turret for sure. I mean, mega turret first. If there was a mega turret second, I'd probably go with that. Easily, hands down. But no, in all seriousness, burnout. I really like Enduring Will. I feel like it's a great. I think it's underrated. I think Enduring Will is one of like the coolest heals in the game, just for how big it is and how long it lasts. Like it's. And I think the overall heal rate is more than the standard resto. If I could have it on every leader wheel, I would really enjoy having that, because especially when the damage starts, it's just nice. It's just really nice on bases.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, honestly, I agree with you on that. Like, I mean, Enduring Will is a very solid choice for your second leader. I'm absolutely burnout first. I don't. Megaturrets are like so bad.
Yeah, they're irrelevant. Yeah.
So yeah, burnout is going to be the first choice for all of us. But as for the second choice, I do really like Burnout 2. It's really good. But at the same time, I really like Enduring Will as well. So I think either choice is very strong. I think I would highly recommend either choice for anyone. Yeah, I genuinely like both. As for the third leader point, Hayden, that's your main guy. What do you like for third leader point?
So if you're playing ones, most people just go the, what are they called? The Wraith Invaders. A lot of people will do that because it allows you to basically counter, what is it, Ranger, Marauder, the typical, like, banished tech 2 in ones. I rarely do that, mostly because I just play them in threes. So I do like mainly I play for the third point base attack timing. So I'll have an army going across the map right when my third point is about to be queued up, and then right when that third point queues up is when I hit them with like maybe a bunch of grunts with grunt mine or something else that does damage, maybe like Marauders for my leader and grunts, and then you hit the Rain of Fire on the base and strip some pads with that timing. I mean, otherwise, if you're you don't want to spend LPs immediately, especially if it's like between a heal and an offensive. You kind of just want to sit and wait to see when you're going to need that LP. So there's really no point in buying it until you need it. So, I mean, if you're being attacked, yeah, you can get one of the best heals in the game. I can't really knock anybody for that. But most of the time, the way I play it is I play for that third point timing attack to get some damage down on the bases.
Okay. What about you, Monkey? What do you think? Third point, where do you go?
Oh, man. I'm pretty much Wraith Invader all the way. I know how good they are. I really like them. But I would say if I've gone Burnout 2, sometimes I will just go back and pick up the Enduring Will. Because, I mean, sometimes you just need a great heal. But most of the time, yeah, station wagons, pretty much all the way. They're just ridiculous engineers.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah, I think honestly, so how I like to play Pavium is I'm super hyper aggressive on the choppers in the beginning with Burnout 1, 2. And the reason I like to be Burnout 1, 2 is you can go supply pad, upgrade the first one, burn out both. You don't have to wait for it to upgrade either. You just burn it out immediately. And it allows you to not only get your minis, but it also allows you to get a second generator up where other leaders wouldn't be able to without committing harder. And then I just spam so many choppers with it and get to hit Tech 2 fairly quickly. Yeah, so I go Wraith Invaders. I think hyper aggressive with choppers into hyper aggressive with hero and your limousines, like your Wraith Invaders is really going to be a very strong play. It's hard for any leader to deal with. So, and I really like to stay away from air for the same reason of Anders. I want my Lich to come into the play on their main, and really I want to be so aggressive with my choppers. I want to stop them from expanding, so that way the Lich can hit their main base. And if you can get it to where they're on one base when the Lich comes down, that's why he is in a high C tier right there. Like that is the way to play Pavium. I would say he's probably the worst leader to go late game. I know a lot of people want to turtle with him. I highly recommend choosing different leaders for turtling. Even Isabel would be a better choice in my opinion. But yeah, like for me, hyper aggressive choppers and zines. That's my choice. Anybody object to that? Or?
No, yeah, I think limousines, keeping him off the expo, that really is what makes Pavium shine, is like liching that main base down. He's strong. I can see it.
What about for the fourth leader point, where you can either get mines, rain, or in Hayden's case, you can go back and get enduring will, or like what do you guys think? Hayden, it's your main. What about you, bud?
I mean, most of the time the way I'll do it is I'll get burnout 1 and 2, and I'll either get heal or the rain of fire depending on which one I need at the time. But then fourth point, I'll either get heal or rain of fire again, simply because like I like his mines, but most of the time people have like vision by that time, like they have nightingales or plenty of like engineers, so they're the only way you're gonna get that is if you get like a Y ability or like a stun off and you get like good mines. But at that point, it's just like you might as well just have rain of fire, because you can actually, instead of only using that on an army, you can use that on a base and it can hit air units. So I think rain of fire is definitely better than the mine. Fourth point, yeah, I mean I'm just getting burnout 1 2 heal and the rain of fire by that point.
Gotcha. Lucky, what would your fourth point be?
Oh man. Enduring Will 3.
There you go.
I'd be an off-brand Decimus at that point, honestly. I think you can't argue with the heal rate. It speaks for itself.
I mean, enduring will is really strong, but I think rain of fire.
You get orbital designator.
No.
I think rain of fire is probably.
I like the
one of
surprise.
points.
I don't need to see what you're doing.
A lot of times, what I'll do is if they're going air, I go rain. If they're going ground, I go mines. That's a lot of times the way I like to do it, or how I like to do it. But yeah, I can see Hayden's point on the consistency where rain is just good in all scenarios, where mine has more of a niche scenario. But the thing is that niche scenario is really good at it.
Oh yeah.
And
Those
Yeah.
lines
a lot of times I have choppers that I'll do left over just from remnants, and I'll use my Y ability with my hero, and I'll use the Y ability with the rams of choppers on top of them and just to keep them in it. And you can do the same thing with Rain of Fire, but I'm just saying if they're all ground units and you combine that with a choke point, like you could wipe the entire army with that. Yeah, so I've seen it be quite ridiculous. But yeah, so I guess the last leader point would be Lich Vanguard. Is anybody opposed to that, or?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy decision.
How many vultures are on the map?
So if there's too many vultures, Pavium stands looking
yeah.
juicy. Honestly, I think if there's a lot of vultures on the map, though, I would still go Lich. And
No, for sure.
I'm just
I'm
going.
with that too.
Yeah, I'm just going to build engineers and lock them down at my bases because,
Yeah.
like, one engineer will shut down a whole 13 or a whole 13 vultures at the same time. So really, save the Pavium stand. Just get the Lich.